Hey everybody, welcome to the November 26th meeting for nteract contributors. Just to kick things off, so I haven't actually uploaded the last 2 weeks of video, and so today I'll be uploading 3 weeks of video. All with the wrong dates now, but like for when they're uploaded, because usually I do it the same day. That's okay, we'll have it up soon. I didn't have stable internet last week, and the week before that I was on call. It just kind of went all over. At some point, I should probably get other people to do the meeting recording and uploading. It's actually not too bad. It just takes time. Yeah. Anyway, so to kick things off, and I know Safia is mid walking for stuff.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
I'm good to talk now for my updates. Unless you want to kick it off.
Oh no, I was really hoping to pass it on to you, so that's good. I'm happy to take
perfect. Okay, great. I have a lot of updates. First things first, if you are involved in the documentation work, you might be aware that we were having a little bit of trouble getting TypeScript comment-based documentation working for our mono repo. And I was kind of like kicking my head against the wall with it for a couple of weeks, I guess, at this point, but we got it working this weekend. So we now have packages.nteract.io, which is the documentation page for all of our JavaScript packages. And that's like set to go and to start like writing out doc strings for all of our TypeScript packages. The other thing that I got set up was our nteract content guide, which is basically a document that shows it's kind of built off MailChimp's content guide, and it discusses how we use voice and tone across all of our writing, how we write our email newsletters, how we write our tweets, how we write our blog posts, and so on, just so that as we're like starting to build out our marketing efforts, our voice and our tone are consistent throughout all of our channels. So that's content-guide.nteract.io if you want to check it out. And it's also just pretty general tips. You can use it for your own stuff or things like that. I'll be working on updating it throughout the rest of this week, so feel free to help me out with that if you've got the time. And other than that, just like continuing it with the TypeScript migration. Made a lot of progress this weekend, and we're getting really close to finishing off our packages migration. I think there's like core that needs to be migrated. That's the big one, and that's kind of like 33% done. The other big one, well, not a big one, there's also the data resource transform that needs to be migrated. And I think that might almost be it. But yeah, that's coming along really nicely, and we'll be able to call it done super soon, so feel free to jump in on that. And I feel like there was so much more that I did, but I can't remember any of it now. But those, I think, were like the big things that I wanted to share with everybody and get everybody's feedback on.
Awesome. So, and packages.nteract.io is the non-React stuff. It's only like pure libraries, right?
Yeah, it's just pure TypeScript packages, things like RxJupyter, RxBinder, and so on.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. Cool. That's one added to the notes then. So that's looking good. I know some other stuff that like you've been working on kind of like a overall kind of like architecture of nteract itself, like the packages that are available and some of the kind of like how do you put some of these things together.
You're correct. Thanks for reminding me. I'm so frazzled this morning. I've been also working on outlines for a general like guide to nteract. And then I've also been working out outlines for like persona specific guides to nteract. So like it's getting started guide specifically for data scientists or software engineers, so that we can get like targeted information to the different kinds of people we expect to be using nteract. And all of that, if you're interested in reviewing it, is on the nteract docs repository.
How do you want us to review these? What would be the best way to, on GitHub or on Slack or on a Google Doc?
GitHub would be the best place. They're just committed as markdown files onto our GitHub. So if you have feedback on the text or any of that, you can just make like a comment on the pull request or the commit, and I can edit it. I can post more on that in the docs Slack later for people to view or in our meeting minutes.
Yeah, I'm interested in, I'd love to see links to those so I can go take a look at them just out of personal interest, and maybe I'll have useful comments. I don't know, but I
Yeah,
definitely
for sure. I will get those to you and everybody else.
Cool.
I'm linking it in the Google Doc for it now too.
Oh, good call.
Yeah. And that's in the docs repo, right? Just nteract/docs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've added that there. Cool. Okay, I can go ahead and chat. So bookstore. So I've switched into like Python mode for like the last week or so. It was Python and GraphQL was basically my week last week. So for bookstore, finished wrapping up how the archival stuff will work. And I have a glowing recommendation of async.io and Python. I'm like super happy in it. I can't wait for everyone to be on Python 3.6 plus. Like, it's good. And it's really good because I had done so much Tornado work before in Jupyter, and it was sometimes the most infuriating thing to sometimes not have libraries available to you in the like to work with Tornado, because it was like a totally different mindset. You'd have to be on an event loop, and then you'd either use Tornado's HTTP client to reach stuff, or you'd be making your own like raw sockets or whatever. And now with AO HTTP and then tons of libraries being built on top of the async.io stuff, it actually wasn't too bad. And I'm looking forward to this, like a new Bodo core that's built on top of async.io. So that'll be async too. But for now, all I used from async.io was the async.io locks, and then just use thread pools for writing off to S3 on a thread. I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm also happy with some of the automation around it for testing. So I'll be working on the publishing story next, integrating the header editor, and I might switch over to UI land, but I'll probably end up doing a bunch of like backend bits for publish this notebook that I'm on right now. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I should talk about Commuter. I know I've like raised it up in other areas, which is that so Commuter, sadly, I forked it internally at Netflix to get where I needed to, mostly because of having to deal with some internal APIs. And I think there's things that are in there that I need to bring to the open source side, as well as make the open source one palatable. And I'm tempted to either just bring Commuter out again to make, like if somebody wants to make kind of drastic changes to it, that it'll be easier to work with. I'm not real sure. I don't know what other people are interested in Commuter or working on Commuter or touching it. But I'm probably going to work on it some more. So somebody here, Matthew Wardrop, who used to be at Airbnb, he's done some commenting support and wrote this like open source library for doing commenting. And it'll work with like a remote endpoint as well as a local endpoint. And it's looking pretty good. And I'm hopeful that we can make the same kind of stuff work on the open source one too, and then people basically have to run their own service for the annotations. But basically it's kind of Google Docs like, but you're commenting on just static views of the notebook because they'll come out of Commuter. And it does mean that one should behave towards a certain kind of life cycle around the notebooks, which is that they exist on a, what am I thinking of? They exist on a particular namespace. So like for us, we've got this like in Bookstore kind of establishes this, which is you have your workspace notebooks and your published notebooks. And so each of those is some mutable notebook, and we'll keep IDs of the cells embedded in the metadata to hopefully make it better for comments, so that as you've changed this notebook over time, if people are viewing a static version of it, the comments should reflect the proper one. And then you're able to resolve them in a similar Google Docs fashion. So I need to figure out what to do for that. I know other folks would probably find that really helpful to have like a server stood up that you can comment on notebooks, but isn't necessarily attached to the compute. Yeah, so I'm going to be figuring out some of that this week along with the bookstore stuff. But basically my whole brain is wrapped up in kind of notebook lifecycle stuff. So that's it for me.
Could you add links to the open source project from the notes?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and add notes for everything I just said. Anybody else have anything? I mean, I can take notes in the middle of it, but I also realize that I need to steward things or end the meeting if there's nothing else.
I've got nothing to really contribute to, but I've been taking a look at, we talked about kind of deploying like I guess like grabbing is, I guess it was like a conda install, or basically where we have our own Python kernel that gets deployed with, say, like the desktop app. So people don't come to us with like, hey, what version of Python should I install? Or I installed it this way. And then like the app kind of freaks out and like, oh, you don't have the proper installation. So I've been taking a look at that and cleaning up. So I guess I've been in debug hell, if there is a debug hell, with my changes to the raw cell implementation. So I'm kind of working through that. And that also went down a different rabbit hole.
What sort of challenges are you running into for raw cells?
It's just me more or less figuring through React more or less, but it's really not that bad to implement. It's just my certain issues of
I just wanted to know if there was anything in particular about raw cells that my background in them might be able to help. But if it's just React stuff, then I understand.
Okay. I mean, I could probably shoot you a DM later, and I could show you what I've got going.
That's good.
And that's all for me.
I haven't touched anything new. I think I'm going to merge the filterable columns on the grid view in the Data Explorer. And then after that, I'm going to, actually, I'm not sure where I'm going to point myself at next. I know that there's a couple of updates to Data Explorer that can take advantage of some of the new features in semiotic from a couple of releases that have come out. So I'll probably do that a bit. And like I said, I'll sync up with folks and see what else is prominent.
Oh, so I saw your filter PR. You had work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So because there were so many other PRs, and I just ignored everything that was
and
working.
Plus, you were in Python mode.
I was definitely in Python mode.
That's
but I'm happy to review it now if you want me to.
We can. Yeah, we've got a meeting internally right after this, so we can figure that out. I was hoping I could just merge it without reviews. I thought that that was the new normal.
I mean, you can, but I think what you've noticed is that you'll bear the pain of yourself later, and you're like, why didn't we ever catch this?
Yeah. So
I'll check it out real quick.
We'll figure it out.
Just take the work in progress off. We'll be good.
You got it.
In terms of Almond and Spark stuff, right now I'm working on sort of a guide internally so that people who know more about Yarn clusters can get into the same state that I'm at, because that's sort of where we're at right now, is with the PRs that Alex and I have both made. They make it so that you can have a provided Spark, have provided Spark jars that don't necessarily fight with the way that Ammonite or Ammonite Spark or Almond are implementing things, but figuring out but as soon as it got connected to Yarn, it just died. So, and I think that that might be related to the way that it's trying to sync the jars, but I need to dive deeper into that and probably learn a bit more about Yarn. But that's the current state of things, is that we're getting much closer. So.
Awesome. Cool. Guess that about covers it. I think we can call it a day unless anybody has anything else. I've added to the notes. I think I need to fix a link in there for the activity report. But right after this, I'll be uploading all the videos. So that'll be it for me. Cool. Thanks, everybody.